Hello, this is Matt Singer. I'm the arts and culture editor at Willamette Week, and today I am speaking with Ezra Ace Caraeff. He is a bar owner who owns several bars in Portland, and we spoke to Ezra back in June, the day after he reopened his first bar, the Old Gold on Northeast Killingsworth. And the headline on that installment of Distant Voices was, "Last night, Ezra Ace Caraeff reopened his bar. He hopes he won't have to close it again." And then today, he has closed the Old Gold again, at least temporarily, for the winter. So, Ezra, maybe you can just kind of start by telling me what convinced you that this kind of voluntarily closing down for the season, at least, was the right thing to do.
I want to speak to whoever wrote that headline. Yeah, we had to close. Everything's been in these weird increments where we close because of smoke or we close because of and eventually with the COVID numbers going up, we kind of saw the writing on the wall a couple weeks ago. And so we voluntarily closed our indoor dining. I was at one of our bars as a customer, and it was a Friday night, and it was pretty crowded inside, and I didn't feel comfortable about it. I talked to our staff, and they felt pretty uncomfortable about it as well. So we closed the indoor dining, but we have tents and we have heaters and we have so many propane tanks. It feels like it's a side business at this point. We have fire pits. We have everything to do, contactless ordering, and we have all the things. We did everything we could. But when K Brown closed down all sit-down dining, indoor or out, that was about 2 weeks ago, we thought we'd probably come back whenever we could. We do have the tents, we have all the things, we kept everything going. But then once the rules came out, I guess it was announcement last week that we'd be open in another week. We kind of just thought about it, and we talked to our staff, and there's some regulations requiring tent walls to come down, which is fine. I mean, at this point, we were just like, we're going to lose like an amount of money I can't actually fathom at this point. But to us, there's a morality factor in this where like our staff doesn't want, like it's very difficult for people to come to work for this. End of the day, I'm at home, I have beer at home. I'm not there every day. I'm not working it. So it was difficult for us to be like, oh, we're going to reopen and you're going to have to work this. And we're only going to do to-go food. And we have this tent, but it's 28 degrees out tonight. And we're going to, have 6 fire pits going really inefficiently. And it just felt like there's nothing, every step of the way we got further and further away from why we do this. Like, no one opens a bar so customers can order from 200 yards away remotely from their phone and never talk to the bartender and have to wear a mask. Like it gets to a certain point where we've kind of, I've lost track of why we're doing this in the first place. And then that coupled with the fact, the extreme risk to our staff, it just didn't feel right. So as of today, all of our bars are closed through the year into 2021. I don't know when we're open. Some things might change that, like a miraculous, drop in the case numbers, but that doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Judging from everyone's Instagram Thanksgiving photos, that's probably not going to happen at all. So, there's vaccine and there's good weather and there's all these things coming up, but ultimately, like it just ethically, it felt wrong to be open at this point. So we're just going to try to, hold on for as long as we can as closed entities.
Yeah, I was going to ask, in between reopening and closing, did it ever get to the point where it felt not normal, but where you maybe allowed yourself to think, yeah, maybe we can ride this out? But it sounded like it doesn't. It didn't.
Yeah, there were times in the summer, there were days in the summer where like the Blazers were on and it was, 5 p.m. and it was sunny and we had TVs outside and everyone was socially gathered outside but spaced, and like it felt good. Like it felt, normal, which I guess is the thing that we're all chasing at this point. But we knew it would change in the winter, and we were prepared for it. Like we had our tents up in early September. I've put together more patio heaters than pretty much anyone around. Like I could do a blindfolded at this point. but ultimately, like, it's just not, once winter came, it's a different experience. It's darker and the days are longer, and it just wasn't comfortable to me anymore, and it was more difficult for our staff. And like the numbers are, they're hard to ignore. And at this point, everyone, we've been lucky with, at this point, close to 40 different people who work for us. We've had no positive, COVID cases, but that's also, there's an inevitability factor to it where, like, it's going to happen eventually. And I don't want anyone to get sick working. Like, that's it. Like, I don't pay people enough to get sick from COVID, and I don't know who does. But also, like, just I don't feel comfortable with, subjecting people, to conditions that are, like, very difficult at this point.
So a lot of bars have closed and sort of use the phrase, we're closing indefinitely, kind of like leaving that door open that, like, this isn't, goodbye, it's see you later, or whatever. But what does that mean realistically? I mean, like, how much, do you really believe? I mean, what's the scenario in which the old gold can actually reopen?
Yeah, no, we run out of money. We have X amount of money, and our rent is still due tomorrow. Our landlord wants his rent. He will get his rent. Um, our utilities are still due tomorrow, despite advertising campaign that says Comcast cares. Comcast wants their money, a lot of money right away. So, during the first wave of this, a lot of utilities and a lot of, services came out, and they're like, hey, like, just pay us when you can, or like, we won't shut off your utility, like, and we paid all our bills, but that's not happening right now. Like, there's nothing. Like, there's obviously the PPP, which pretty much everyone who, applied for got. That's long gone for everyone, ourselves included. And that's it. Like, there's just nothing left. So, we have X amount of money, and we think that's going to be able to pay our bills until we can open again. And that's it, but, like, I'm out of a job. Our staff's out of a job. Everyone is just waiting, but as far as, like, there's not really a magic formula. It's basically, we have so much money, and our goal is not to spend any money. But we still have, expenses, which we can't stop. Like the OLCC, we just had to get a new OLCC license for next year. That's not discounted. That, in fact, they've doubled their price. Insurance, we have to get insurance, so we're fully insured because of the license. We can't get it without it. They don't cut you a deal for being closed. So, like, by not being open is very expensive. But our goal is just to kind of wait it out for as long as we can.
So much has been made of this, the to-go cocktails issue, and the fact that Oregon is not able to do it. And I don't think anybody's under an illusion that this would be a cure-all. But how much do you think that would have helped? I mean, I know that you are closing more for health reasons and moral reasons than economic necessarily. But if that were an option for you, do you think you would still be operating at least in a to-go capacity?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't know the numbers. No one does. I know it would save, for us personally, like 2 or 3 jobs at least. Like, we actually got a head start on it because we thought it might actually happen in May. So we have packaging, we have a whole, like, template and set up to do it, but we just legally can't do it. So I don't think it's not going to save anyone per se, but at this point, we're pinching pennies. So, like, anything helps. And the fact that there's been no movement on it is pretty embarrassing.